Hey everybody, it's Miss Bell here from the Science Lab, and with my video today I will be talking to you guys about the season of summer. Yay, because summer is almost upon us and I am so excited for the summer break. Hope you guys are too. You guys ready? Yeah? Okay, here we go! When talking about seasons, we know that we have 4 seasons. We have spring, summer, fall, and winter. And summer comes after spring, and summer comes before fall. But there are some other cool things about summer as well. Summer officially begins in June. June 20th, 21st, it kind of changes every now and then, and it goes all the way until September, around September 20th or September 21st. And it lasts for 3 months because each season is 3 months. 3 months for spring, 3 months for summer, 3 months for fall, 3 months for winter. All together makes 12 months, and 12 months is a complete year. So cool. With summer, you're going to notice that we get a lot of sun during this season, because the sun will begin to rise earlier in the morning and the sun will begin to set later in the night. Because of this early rise and this late setting, we're going to get really long days with lots and lots of sunlight during the day when we're awake, which means on the contrary, the nights are going to be a little bit shorter. When you think about this season of summer and you try to think about how you would describe that summer, what are some words that you would use to describe summer? Well, when I think of summer, I think about how hot it can get because we have so much sun all the time. Especially in Texas, because we are south, somewhat close to the equator, we get a lot more heat than some of those northern states in the United States. Sometimes in the summer, the temperatures can get so ridiculous, it seems like, almost as if it's boiling hot outside. I know if you pay attention to the news and you watch the weather reports, you'll see that during some summers, we might get temperatures above 100 degrees. That's just crazy. Not only is it crazy, but sometimes it can be very unhealthy or even dangerous because of the amount of sun exposure that we get to our skin. It can cause heat exhaustion. You can get really dehydrated if you don't drink enough liquids. So in the summer, we have to be really careful with paying attention to our surroundings and our body, just making sure that we're staying healthy. But going back to summer weather, here are some other words that I might use to describe summer. Of course, hot, if not warm, maybe muggy or bright, sweltering. That's kind of a cool word, right? Sunny, of course, or even like boiling hot. Maybe some of your words matched my words. And again, these are some of the temperatures that we might see, especially in summer in Texas. Now down here are 2 words that you might not have thought about when thinking about summer. Here are my 2 words, dry and humid. Now these are 2 words that you could associate with summer, and it all has to do with moisture in the air. If we get a lot of rain mixed with a lot of heat at high temperatures, it's gonna feel humid, almost like you're sticky and muggy. So we would call that humid. But kind of the opposite would be dry. If we have high heat, a lot of heat from the sun, but there's no moisture in the air, like it hasn't rained in a long time, it might feel really dry. So the weather during summer can affect a lot of different things, and one of those things are the activities that we do. A lot of times people will go on vacations during summer because they just need a break, or maybe if they have kids, their kids are off of school, so it's a better time for them to go visit new places. A beach, or beaches, is a place that gets visited a lot during the summer because the conditions are all right. The weather is really warm, the ocean is a little bit warm as well, not as cold like during the winter. And while people are outside doing all of these activities, they might be building sandcastles or flying kites or tanning or shooting off fireworks, especially in the United States. During the summer we celebrate 4th of July, and that's where we see a lot of fireworks. People also might go camping, or kids might go to summer camp, maybe Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts. Also, every 4 years there are the Summer Olympics, where different countries bring really strong competitive athletes to compete against each other in these challenges. And you might also go to different festivals or camps, or really get to enjoy eating popsicles or even ice cream during the summer.
Now, while I'm on the topic of ice cream, I thought it would be really fun to show you guys a way that you could make ice cream at home if you ever wanted to try it in the summer. Remember, summer is really hot, and we do a few things here and there to try to help cool us off. We might eat popsicles, we might go swimming, we might sit under a shady tree, but sometimes I like to eat ice cream, which helps me get really cold really fast. So here we go. I've never done this before and I hope it works, but I want to show you guys.
So for this experiment, I'm going to need 3 large Ziploc baggies and 2 smaller size Ziploc baggies. I'm also going to need some ice that's been crushed up, so even though my ice is chunky, I'm going to use a hammer to hopefully crush it up. I'm also going to need some measuring spoons and measuring cups to get my ingredients measured correctly. I'll need some rock salt, or in this case ice cream salt, paper towels for cleanup. I'm going to need some vanilla extract, some half and half, and some sugar.
So to begin making ice cream, I'm just going to make sure my workspace is clear, and I'm going to start measuring out my ingredients. I put my ingredients in a bag. I'm going to pour in half a cup of half and half. I'm going to pour in 1 tablespoon of sugar, and I'm going to pour in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I have 2 liquids and 1 solid going into my bag. After I get these 3 ingredients in my bag, I'm going to kind of just mix it up just a little bit to move those things around inside my bag to try to incorporate them into each other. Now, the scientist in me wants to know the mass of my pre-frozen ice cream ingredients. So I'm using our triple beam balance over here to figure out the mass of my half and half, the sugar, and the vanilla. Now, once I do some calculations, I know that these 3 items are a certain amount of grams. 138.7 grams to be exact, and at the end of my experiment I'm going to do the exact same thing and figure out the amount of grams, or the amount of mass, of our frozen ice cream, just to do some comparisons. Next up, I'm going to take some ice and crush it up into smaller pieces. Now, if you go to a place that has small ice to begin with, like maybe Sonic, you wouldn't have to do this step. But the ice that we have here at school is big and chunky, but I need it in smaller pieces. After that, I'm going to place my crushed ice in a new bag and pour some rock salt in there. And I'm going to mix up my ice and my rock salt to kind of make sure everything is kind of evenly distributed. Now my ice cream ingredients and my ice mixture are both double bagged, because as I go through this experiment and activity and shake these bags around, there are some pieces that are going to kind of break out, because crushed ice has a jaggedy edge and it might come through one of the bags, and I don't want any of my ice to come in contact with my ice cream mixture. As you can see, I'm shaking, and every now and then checking the consistency of my ice cream. I had placed my double baggy ice cream ingredients inside my double baggy ice bags, and now it's the fun part of making homemade ice cream this way. I would highly suggest using oven mitts or towels like I'm doing to hold onto the bags, because rock salt mixed with ice makes it that much more colder. And I took about 10 minutes to shake this bag over and over and over to go from the kind of that liquid state of my ice cream to the frozen state of my ice cream. And holding a bag of frozen ice for 10 minutes, that's extreme and that's hardcore, but I couldn't quite do it for that long without these towels helping me keep my hands not as cold. So here I am just doing that second measurement on our triple beam balance to compare the beginning mass to the end mass. And in the very end, we're able to see that yes, there was a difference, as slight as it was, going from one state to a different state, or from liquid to solid. And voila, we have ice cream.
So I would say my homemade ice cream was a success. Like I mentioned, I'd never done this before, but I would definitely do it at home with my kiddo, and hopefully we would be just as successful. I wonder if you could do this using different types of creams or milk. I wonder if you could do it with full ice cubes instead of crushed ice cubes. I wonder if you could do it with different flavors instead of just vanilla ice cream. There's so many ways that you could extend this type of experiment to see if it works with all the different variations. Another thing that summer weather can affect are the clothes that we wear on our bodies. These types of clothing are going to help keep us cool, because we know the days are getting hotter and hotter and hotter during the season of summer. So you might see people wearing short sleeve shirts or tank tops or shorts, but also you're going to see people wear things on their heads, maybe a baseball hat or a sun hat, or even sunglasses, to help give us a little bit of shade from all of that intense sunlight, to not be so bright on our eyes. Also, footwear might change going from spring to summer. People might wear flip-flops or water shoes or even sandals because it's getting so warm, or you're going swimming more often. And of course, you can't talk about summer clothes without mentioning some sort of swimsuit, because a lot of people do choose to go swimming, maybe in a pool or at a beach, or maybe even a water park or a slip and slide in the front yard. One more thing that can be affected by weather during summer is transportation, and this is just how we get from one place to another. Remember, the weather in summer is hot and sunny, so it's not going to be cold and snowy like winter. It's not going to be super rainy like in spring. So you're going to see people having kind of the normal transportation, like maybe a car or a bus, maybe even a train. But during the summer, people are going to be kind of out and about sometimes, like if they go hiking or if they go swimming or tubing, because the water is a way to help keep us cool. Also, people go on vacations during summer, so you might see more people flying to get to their new vacation spots. People might grab a boat or a sailboat to go sailing on the water. Kids are out of school during summer, so you might see them out skating with roller skates or skateboards, or even picking up their bikes to enjoy going around the neighborhood. And another way that people might go from one place to another during the summer is on a cruise ship in the oceans, going from one country to another country. So moving on to animals, it's hard to say that every animal is going to act the same way, because not every species of animals is the same. But for overall, I would say that animals during the summer are going to be active. And what I mean by that is they are going to maybe move a lot more than versus the fall or the winter. They're going to eat a lot more. They're going to hunt a lot more. They are going to be reproducing to make their own babies, or if they had babies in the spring, then in the summer they're going to be taking care of those babies and making sure that they stay alive in their habitat. Like I mentioned with plants growing and being fully grown during summer, that's going to have a lot more food options for animals and a lot more variety of food choices for animals. So that's why they're going to be eating so much during summer. Now, some animals might be eating a lot to have that early preparation for fall and winter. So by eating a lot, they're gaining a lot of fat on their bodies, and this is just a natural instinct for animals to do, to have an early preparation for those cold months that are soon to come. Also, some animals might rest during the day because it's so hot, which means they're going to be more active at night. So they might move at night, they might hunt at night, they might mate at night, and sometimes we would call these animals nocturnal, where they are more active at night versus the day. But it might just be animals trying to stay cool during the day, which means they have to be pretty busy at night. Another thing to think about with summer is what's going to happen to the plants and the animals during this season. So when talking about plants, we know that in spring they start to grow, they start blooming, they start coming out of the ground. But when it comes time for summer, they should be in full bloom. So you're going to see the trees with all of their leaves. You're going to see the flowers with those bright, beautiful, vibrant petals. It's so pretty to look at. All of these plants really blooming and thriving during the summer. And some of these plants are going to start producing edible food, such as berries or fruit. So we might see a lot more produce in the stores, or animals are going to have a lot more food to choose from during the season of summer. Now, in summer, we know there's intense heat, lots and lots of sun, so it's very important that we do get rainfall. Now, not every place is going to get the same amount of rainfall during summer, but when rain comes, it's important because it helps the environment survive. Because we know one of the basic needs of plants is water. And without water, especially during summer, you are prone to have drought, and that's when there's not enough rain and too much sun. It starts drying up the soil, drying up the plants, and then they start basically dying off. And we just can't have that for the survival of us and our animals and other living organisms.
So my very last project I want to show you guys in my video today is making a solar oven. Let me say that one more time. A solar oven. This is not like the oven we might have in our homes that uses electricity or maybe gas to heat up the oven and cook foods. No, 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 no. We are going to be using the sun to melt and heat up food. So our solar oven is taking light energy from the sun and converting that into heat energy. And what season do you think might be the best season to make such a project? It's summer, because in summer, especially in Texas, that is where we're going to get the most sun and the hottest temperatures. So to begin this project, I'm going to just let you know of some materials that we need, and then I'm going to let you know what we might be making in our solar oven, and then we'll get started step by step. So to begin, we're going to need some foil and some saran wrap. I'm going to need tape. You can use duct tape or clear packaging tape. You're going to need something to measure with. I'm using a ruler, and this is also going to act as a stand, and I'll explain that later. A pencil or something to mark with. Glue sticks. Also, I'm going to need some black paper. And this is called an X-Acto knife. It's a very, very sharp blade to make me get very precise cuts. But if you use anything like this, you need an adult to either do it for you or to make sure that they are supervising you. And last but not least, I'm going to be using a pizza box. You can also use any box, like a shoe box, that might have a lid. Now, what do you think we might be making in our solar oven today? Take a guess. What can we put in our solar oven to heat up in order for us to enjoy eating this food? What's your prediction? Well, if you said s'mores as your prediction, ding, 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 you are correct. So we are also going to need these 3 food items: marshmallows, graham crackers, and chocolate, in order to melt and eat our s'mores. Here we go. So to start off, I make sure my work area is nice and neat and clean, and then I take my ruler and pretty much make a border on the top of my pizza box. About 2 inches from the edges is where I'm going to draw straight lines, like a smaller size square. And then I'm going to take my box cutter and carefully cut along those straight lines. Now I am cutting out the square completely, but you can also take the option to where you just cut out 3 sides and leave one of the sides open. But I like this version because you can take it out of the lid and kind of manipulate it a little bit more easily. So with this square, I'm putting foil on it and then securing it with clear tape. It's important to use clear tape on this part of the lid so that you're not taking away from any part of the shiny foil. And it's important to note that you need to make sure that you're using the shiny side of the foil. Now to attach this square back to where it was, I'm using duct tape because it's a little bit more stronger and later on, I'm going to cover up this pink duct tape on the inside of my box. After that, I'm going to really try my best to pretty much take foil and surround the entire inside of my solar oven. Now, I am going to have to do some eyeballing as far as measurements go, but as I break off pieces, I'm going to glue them down so that they don't kind of slip and slide. I'm going to have to kind of fold them around the edges so that they have a good crease on each of the edges. I'm going to fold over any extra long pieces of foil, and then eventually I'm going to use clear tape to secure those loose ends of the foil. And foil is important for our solar system because we are using the light energy from the sun. We need to try to collect as much of that as we can. So two things are really important: the foil and the black paper. I'll come to that later. But with our foil, it is going to collect a lot of that sunlight, and then it's going to allow that light to kind of bounce off of it, almost kind of like a mirror does. We call that reflection. So the sunlight is going to be reflected on the inside of our pizza box. Now, as you can see with my lid, the part that has been cut out, I am securing some clear saran wrap to cover that hole, and I am taping it on the inside of my solar oven. I want to make sure to really tape down these edges because we really don't want any excess air coming into the oven or any air being released out of the oven, because we want as much heat to stay in there as possible. Now, just like I did with the bottom of my solar oven, I'm going to do with the top. So I'm placing strips of foil all along the top of my pizza box because I want to make sure that I really allow that light energy to be able to move and bounce as much as possible. The light is not going to bounce off regular old cardboard or my hot pink duct tape, but it will bounce off of the shiny side of the foil. So once I get all of the inside of my solar oven completely covered and taped down with foil, I can then almost create a place where I'm going to do my, I guess you could say, cooking or melting. And that's going to be in the very center of the bottom of my solar oven. Now, the black paper is placed down because black is actually kind of really important as far as collecting light. The black paper kind of acts like a cooking surface, and that's because the color black retains heat really well. So when you wear black clothes on a very sunny day, you're going to be that much more hotter versus if you wore like a white shirt on a sunny day. Next up, you can just grab your s'more pieces and place them directly on the black cooking paper. That'll be your graham crackers, your marshmallows, and your chocolate. Then you just close the lid to where the saran wrap is over the s'mores, and then you lift up that middle part of the lid and secure it in place with the ruler taped to the top. Now, this is what it's going to look like when you take it outside and place it directly in a sunny spot. And the light is going to come toward your solar cooker. It's going to hit all of that foil, and all of that foil is going to help reflect that light into the bottom of your solar cooker. And inside the pizza box, underneath the saran wrap, that's where the heat is going to get hotter and hotter and hotter and really take effect on those s'mores, especially the chocolate and the marshmallow. Because heat is being added, that's where we're going to see the melting happen. So after everything is set up and you are good to go, you just take that solar oven outside on a bright, sunny, hot day. You put it somewhere on a flat surface and make sure that it gets a lot of sunlight. And then you are good to go for a certain amount of time. You can keep checking it, and eventually the chocolate and the marshmallows will melt. How cool is science and solar ovens? Man. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It's been a blast. I will see y'all later. Bye.